Only 7 minutes late. Coming up on SCTV3, see what students and faculty learned at this year's Humanics Conference.
Plus, see what the Springfield community is doing for those with food insecurity.
All that and more tonight on SCTV3. Hello and welcome to another edition of SCTV3 Weekly News. I'm River Mitchell.
And I'm Emma Bynes. Thank you for tuning in. We start tonight's episode with a closer look at community services surrounding food insecurity. With SNAP benefits recently expiring, many members of the Springfield community rely on these benefits to help put food on the table. The Springfield Public Library and the Pride Pantry here on campus are helping provide assistance to those in need. SCTV3's Lanaya Delgado has more on how these services are helping in times of need.
A large portion of the city is what's considered like food vulnerable.
On November 1st, SNAP benefits halted across the United States. Springfield, Mass. Has been greatly affected by this, with 47.4% of the city's population receiving benefits. Due to this, the Pride Pantry at Springfield College and the Springfield Public Libraries are collecting food to help those in the community and on campus to have food during this time. I met with Greg Mitchell, who is the supervisor at the Central Library in Springfield, about what they are doing to help during this crisis.
Springfield Library, we kind of were speaking with the administration at like the mayor's office in City Hall, and our director and assistant director and the director's office here made the decision that we were going to start collecting food for people throughout Springfield, and people can come to any location, whether it's the Central Library or any of our 8 branch libraries, and drop off food. However, if you are in need and you need to pick up food, you can also kind of take it from our storage as well while we're there. And anything we have left over or that we accumulate between now and Thanksgiving, we'll be distributing through the Sheriff's Department.
Mitchell also brought up a good point, saying how it's important for people to donate and why they should donate.
A large portion of the city is what's considered like food vulnerable. So for this city in particular, it's great for people that can and are able to bring things for us to be able to redistribute to other people, or for people to pick up, because food insecurity is a huge problem, and it is a huge problem even when there were SNAP benefits in place. I think whether it's Springfield or other communities that struggle, there are a lot, especially like in urban areas like that have food deserts, and I think like Springfield in particular does have a lot of areas that you could define as food deserts, and it's really important for people to donate food so we can redistribute it and get it to those families.
The Pride Pantry is another resource for students in the community to use during this time.
Pride Pantry is a free and accessible resource to anyone on campus that includes undergrad students, graduate students, faculty, and staff. And it's a place where you could come get food, any like personal hygiene items, household items, completely free, no questions asked. And it's just basically here to support students, and also we're open to community members as well.
Students on campus don't have to worry about the stigma of getting free food from the pantry due to a system that the pantry has set up for students who are in need.
Soft website that we use to organize the pantry. We have an online ordering system that allows people to place orders online, and then it's picked up right in that back area, and they can come pick it up at their earliest convenience. All the orders are labeled with numbers instead of names, so that's absolutely anonymous, and people just come get what we need. And I have seen an uprise in that since we've not only started advertising it more, because a lot of people didn't know about it, but also since the beginning of November, I've seen an increase in the amount of online orders that we've had.
And anyone is encouraged to come and get any resources that they have available inside, as well as the Springfield Public Library encourages all students and anyone in the community as well to go to any of their libraries for food resources and also donations if available. The only thing that the Springfield Public Libraries ask is that if you give a call ahead to make sure that they have food, since they're contributing to local food banks weekly. With SCTV3, I'm Lanaya Delgado.
Alumni at Atlanta Falcons senior pro football executive Christian Olson was back on campus last Friday. The Springfield College Sport Management Club held a 4-part event where members of the campus community had the chance to speak with Olson. During the coffee chat portion of this event, Olson shared what his journey looked like, including his time at the National Football League offices and with the Falcons and the Houston Texans. Olson held a Q&A with the students afterwards where he spoke about how his time on Alden Street helped him in his professional career.
It starts with discipline, right? So I think the way the college emphasizes humanics and helping people, and I think the professors that I had here, faculty, were all interested in seeing people succeed.
To keep up with any news on the Sport Management Club, follow at Springfield_Sportman Club on Instagram.
African-American writers and artists in Paris, a Springfield College English class, will be traveling to France this upcoming May. The trip, starting on May 18th and running through the 25th, is being organized by the course's professor, Alice Eaton. In addition to people currently enrolled in the course, students from last year's class were also invited. The trip highlights different locations in Paris where African Americans went to escape racism in the United States, including museums, cafes, and theaters. This connection between Paris and the United States is a main point of interest for Eaton in teaching the course.
Paris has always been a place that writers and artists have been drawn to, and in particular, African American writers and artists were drawn there for community with each other.
Next semester, Eaton is teaching a class titled Beyoncé, Who Run the World?
On Monday, the William Simpson Fine Art Series hosted an opening for a new gallery entitled The Colors of Grief. The exhibition showcases art from children who attend Rick's Place, a charity for children processing grief along Hampden County. The artist's projects included masks that represented grief and a memory wall where guests were invited to place a picture and write a message in honor of a loved one who has passed on. The gallery is located on the third floor of Blake Hall and is open for viewing on weekdays from 9:30 to 4 until November 21st. For more information on the series, visit springfield.edu/Simpson.
With the fall semester now running past the halfway point, students are beginning advising sessions for the spring semester. Students meet with their advisors to discuss recommended courses for the next semester, core curriculum requirements, internships, and professional opportunities. For first year and sophomore students, their advising meetings may focus on core curriculum requirements and major requirements, whereas seniors and graduate students will center around next steps after graduation. Assistant Dean of Advising and Student Success, Leanne Gomes, shared the most important questions students should ask during the advising period.
I hope that when a student sits down with their advisor, they're not just seeking what classes am I going to take next semester. I want them to have a fruitful conversation about who they are and how they can build their profile and how they can explore things. So I think it's important for students to engage in a conversation about what past students are doing. What are alumni doing? Where do I get valuable information to be successful and take what I'm learning in the classroom outside of the classroom?
Students looking for guidance with course selection or professional opportunities should contact their advisor or contact the Academic Advising Center at academicadvising@springfieldcollege.edu.
On Monday night, the Black Student Union Club met for a Hot Wings and Hot Takes event in the Dodge Room. The Black Student Union is a club dedicated to bringing people together through the rich history and culture of African Americans both here at Springfield College and globally. Each month, the club hosts a variety of events for students to connect and have fun. BSU has organized several popular events this year, including a student kickball game, a s'mores and movie night, and a Vibes and Vinyls evening. The mission of the club is simple: to promote unity, build lasting connections, and raise awareness about the ongoing fight for equity and the justice across the country. President of the Black Student Union, Kyla Henderson, shared why she believes the club plays a unique role at Springfield College.
Created for students who are who identify with African American roots or Black American roots, and basically we kind of just create a safe space for them to come to and just kind of talk about like random things. Like we do a lot of things with our culture, or just like hot topics and hot wings, like hot talks and hot wings, like just random stuff. And it's just really just to bring people together and find a community.
Anyone is welcome to join upcoming BSU events. If you are interested in joining BSU or want to stay updated with future events, check out their Instagram at BSU@SC.
Friday evening on Halloween, Springfield College Residence Life transformed Alumni Hall in an event called Haunted Halls. The festively decorated alumni lobby offered students an evening of Halloween-themed fun from 6 to 8. The event featured a range of activities including a scavenger hunt with prizes, spooky movie screenings, arts and crafts, and of course, plenty of bowls filled with candy. A pool table was also available for those looking to relax and challenge their friends. Students were encouraged to arrive in costume and bring along friends to take part in the Halloween festivities. More festive events are planned for the future, so students are encouraged to keep an eye out for posters in the residence halls and email announcements from ResLife.
We now send it over to Lanaya Delgado, who is in Studio B with our local and national weather update. Lanaya, take it away.
Thanks, River. Tomorrow and Saturday will be partly cloudy to start off the weekend, with the weather getting up to 62 degrees. It will be a rainy Sunday leading into Monday, being the only day of sun, but a very chilly night as the weather drops to 28 degrees for the rest of the week. It will be partly cloudy with the weather going up no more than 48 degrees. Now, onto our national weather update. Nearly a week after Hurricane Melissa made landfall in Jamaica, the cleanup process began shortly after. Nearly 500,000 people in Jamaica are still without power. Government workers and residents began clearing roads in a push to reach isolated communities that sustain a direct hit from the powerful storm. Gas is also in short supply, mostly from damages to the gas lines and tanks that caused the severe flooding. At least 60 people are reported dead. Search and rescue teams continue to scour the island for the missing people. Haiti and Cuba also saw extensive damage, with nearly 6 million people reported to have been impacted by the storm in the Caribbean. Scientists are still examining what caused Melissa to become what they call a monster storm. Back to Emma in studio.
After the break, we have our weekly Q&A with a faculty member in the Office of Marketing.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut, the one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink, or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking, now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed, better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead, catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Can't believe you're doing this alone.
I've done it before.
I remember. You threw your back out. How you holding up?
Hand me that board.
Nothing wrong with getting help.
I'm good.
I did it when Felicia left.
I'll figure it out.
I know you will, but you don't have to do it alone. That's all I'm saying.
If I promise to look into it, will you drop it and help me build this fence?
Now you need my help.
It can be a real pain sometimes, you know that?
Mm-hmm.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Ever wondered who takes photos for the college's social media accounts? Chris Evans is the Director of Multimedia Content for the Office of Marketing. SCTV3's Lanaya Delgado sat down with Evans to talk about his role at the college.
So as the director of multimedia content at Springfield College, my role is photo and video. So it's, it can be anything from, going into a lab and creating stills and video as well, to covering events, covering commencement. I think I look at it as kind of setting the visual tone of Springfield College. There are several other photographers, on within the college that cover events and so forth. So it's kind of like taking the lead. I manage all of the our asset management system, so all the photos come in, and that's my role. To get to every event on campus that is a high-profile event, we'll either myself. There's another photographer in institutional advancement that will cover a lot of events. So we all collaborate. We have a couple of students, whether interns, a student employee who goes out and covers a lot of events for us. That being said, we're marketing, so we tend to look at everything from an external perspective. How is our covering an event going to help drive enrollment or help fundraise for the college? Students and our staff and faculty outside the classroom, soaking in the college experience. That's to me, that's what events are. Whether it's taking in a speaker, or visually showing our mission of humanics. That to me is the gold standard. To get images of our faculty, students, and staff out, on campus, out in the community, doing humanics is my goal. Every day it's sometimes hard to come by, but it's not that's not to say it doesn't happen, but it's visually it's sometimes hard to come by, or you hear about after the fact. Is forever increasing. Like, we're not going to be doing less video as we move along. So that to me is the biggest change. Is the need to produce video. That's I spend more of my time doing video, and I absolutely enjoy producing video, but it's just realizing that's the reality of where we are. Video is driving all media content, I think, these days. Still, I love it. Still photography, still photo, but it's definitely video. The things that really jumped out, like Billie Jean King speaking at commencement, I was blown away. That was phenomenal, and it just from a visual standpoint, having someone of that stature on stage hitting tennis balls out to graduates, and it just was a visual jackpot. That was pretty much the high water mark, and hopefully we'll reach that again. But it was cool in that it was exciting for the students, and yet we also got we got some national news coverage out of it. Next week I was cutting video clips to send to CBS News, and we also got a photo in People magazine that afterwards, so that was pretty cool. No matter what day you're having, you get out and you walk across campus and you see smiling faces all around, people saying hello to you, and you're just like that, you feel much better. You feel 100% better, even if you weren't, even if you were having an okay day. You're gonna always feel, getting out and seeing the Springfield College community is always going to lift your spirits.
If you're looking for an internship or a work-study position, you can contact Chris by email.
Now we turn to some of the biggest national headlines from this past week. Tuesday's election was a big night for Democrats. 3 candidates won in New York, New Jersey, and Virginia, as well as a notable ballot measure that was passed in California. SCTV3's Patrick Fergus has more.
And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater. Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it.
Headlining the night was the victory of 34-year-old Zohran Mamdani, as he became the youngest person to win New York City's mayoral election in over a century. Mamdani ran a social media-driven campaign focused on the affordability crisis in the country's largest city. He defeated former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who was running as an independent following his upset loss to Mamdani in the Democratic primaries back in June, and Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa. Voter turnout surpassed 2 million people, the highest since 1969, with Mamdani receiving over 1 million votes. Elsewhere, Democrats secured important victories in gubernatorial races in New Jersey and Virginia. In the Garden State, Democrat Mikey Sherrill soundly defeated Republican Jack Citarelli. Much like Mamdani, Sherrill promised working hard to effect change.
The future is now. Roll up your sleeves, let your passion flow. The country we carry in our hearts is waiting.
Virginia saw its first female governor elected, with Abigail Spanberger flipping the state after defeating Republican Winsome Earl Sears.
We sent a message to the whole world that in 2025, Virginia chose pragmatism over partisanship.
Also catching national headlines was Prop 50 in California, a measure to redraw the state's congressional map to favor Democrats ahead of the midterm elections in 2026. The measure passed with ease, and Governor Gavin Newsom said it will help Democrats counter the gerrymandering that has been enacted in Texas and other red states.
We need to see other states with their remarkable leaders that have been doing remarkable things
meet this moment head on as well, to recognize what we're up against in 2026.
After a big win for the Democratic Party, all eyes turn to next year's battle for control of the House. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Patrick Fergus.
The Texas redistricting aimed to help Republicans win up to 5 additional seats in the House at the midterm elections. This new ballot in California will most likely allow Democrats to pick up 5 seats of their own.
The ongoing government shutdown is the longest in United States history and currently has no end in sight. One of the consequences of this shutdown are federal airport workers who have to work without pay. Here's more.
With the government shutdown entering its 37th day this morning, airports across the country are facing major delays. TSA workers as well as air traffic controllers have been working without pay and are beginning to succumb to the difficult conditions they've been working in. One airport in Houston reported 3-hour wait times to get through TSA. Mary Broom, a travel agent who was flying to Florida, reminds travelers to be patient with the workers who are now volunteering.
Traffic controllers, but now you're also arriving early and seeing
Right. I would say no matter what you do, someone has a job and they have to do their job, so don't be disrespectful to them. Be patient, be kind, be compassionate. The TSA workers are not getting paid right now. The culture in Florida is a little different with how we're taking care of TSA people, but just be gracious. Whenever you're traveling, you can't be rush, because there's always changes.
According to the Federal Aviation Administration, over 80% of air traffic controllers were absent from scheduled shifts in New York area airports. Due to the lack of staff, thousands of flights are getting delayed or canceled each day. Lisa Vonwer, a woman who traveled to Iceland this week, said she was worried about her ability to return from vacation, but empathizes with the workers.
The government to open up and have everybody get paid, and that's it.
Scheduling travel will likely not return to normal until the end of the government shutdown, and delays could get worse until then.
Many more delays are to be expected over the coming weeks, and lines for TSA will only get longer, so be sure to arrive to the airport early.
One of President Trump's top economic policies faced a major test at the Supreme Court today. The justices are weighing whether he had the power to impose broad tariffs on American trading partners without congressional approval. SCTV3's Tyler Semenich has more.
President Trump has described the Supreme Court fight over his trade authority as life or death for the country. On April 2nd, President Trump determined that our exploding trade deficits have brought us to the brink of an economic and national security catastrophe. At the center of the case is the Trump administration's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, a decades-old law typically reserved for sanctions to justify tariffs on nearly every major U.S. trading partner.
The question is whether or not that language, first of all, whether or not a trade deficit counts as an emergency, an unusual and extraordinary threat.
The administration argues that the tariffs were a matter of national security, but lower courts have repeatedly ruled against them, siding with small businesses in several states that claim the president overstepped his authority.
Our founders gave that taxing power to Congress alone. Yet here, the president bypassed Congress and imposed one of the largest tax increases in our lifetimes.
President Trump initially said he might attend today's oral arguments, something no sitting or former president has done, but instead sent Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent while addressing a business summit in Miami. If the Supreme Court rules against the administration, it could affect tens of billions in revenue collected through tariffs and force major policy rollback.
I mean, it could have a very serious impact. There would certainly, at least immediately, those tariffs would become unenforceable, or you would have to take them back.
The Supreme Court could hand down a decision by summer, though it's not clear if justices will fast-track the case. Even some conservative and business groups, including the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, have urged the court to limit presidential tariff powers. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Tyler Semenich.
President Trump says a ruling against him could have disastrous effects on the U.S. economy.
After the break, SCTV3's Liam Riley has you covered with another edition of SCTV3 Sports Extra.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Sports Extra. I'm Liam Riley. Women's soccer took down Coast Guard 4-2 on Tuesday night to advance to the semifinals of the NUMAC tournament. Senior midfielder Caitlin Soler netted 2 goals for the Pride, one in the first 5 minutes of the game and the other with 7 minutes left in the first half. Going at halftime, the Pride had a 2-1 lead after a save by the Springfield goalie redirected in front of an empty net and was finished off by Coast Guard. First-year forward Jess Perry opened up the scoring in the second half. A miscommunication led to Coast Guard scoring its second goal of the night, but Springfield's Kayla McGrath answered to add an insurance goal. Springfield took a 4-2 lead down to the triple zeros to advance in the NUMAC tournament. SCTV3's Callum McCander was at the game and has more.
Springfield took down Coast Guard 4-2 in tonight's quarterfinal game. Number 18, Caitlin Suller, had 2 goals in tonight's dominant win. Springfield now plays on Thursday night in its semifinal round. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Callum McCander.
The Pride play host to win in the semifinal round on Thursday at 7 on Brock Affleck Field. Field hockey also hosted a postseason game on Tuesday night, knocking off Salve Regina 2-1. SCTV3's Nick Pantages has more from Stag Field.
I'm here at Stag Field following an excellent game between the Springfield College and Salve Regina field hockey teams. It was Springfield who struck first in this one, with first-year Rachel Simkwitz finding the back of the net, before Salve evened it up at the end of the first. After a scoreless second, it was senior forward Audrey Hayes who found the winner for Springfield, securing her second goal of the season and pushing the score to 2-1. Stout defense from the Pride and stellar saves from first-year goalie Sam Orcutt kept this one a 2-1 game, allowing Springfield to advance to the NUMAC semifinals. There, they will take on number 3 nationally ranked Babson, a team who the Pride only lost 2-1 to earlier this year. That game is happening right now in Wellesley. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Nick Pantages.
Babson won 2-0. Over the weekend, men's and women's swimming and diving lost to MIT in its season opening meet. The men's team lost 209-91, while the women's team lost 249-50. Both of MIT's teams are nationally ranked, with the women's team at number 4 and the men's team at 7. For the swimming portion of the meet, Dan Backlund was the only individual winner for the men's squad, as 21.69 time was good enough to claim first in the 50 free. Lena Thompson was the highest placer for the women's team with a third place finish in the 100 free. I was at the Art Linklater Natatorium with more on how the Pride performed on the diving boards. Near the Art Linklater Natatorium, swimming and diving lost to MIT. Christian Butler had an outstanding day on the boards, scoring first on the 1 meter and the 3 meter board, scoring 18 out of Springfield's 91 points. This performance earned him the NUMAC Men's Diver of the Week award. As for the women's team, Elizabeth Santos scored 245.55 points on the 3 meter board to achieve a third place finish. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Liam Riley. Swimming and diving looked to bounce back when it hosts Coast Guard and Wheaton in a dual meet on Saturday. We now swing over to our athletic team schedule, as some team seasons are ending and others are just beginning. Women's soccer hosts WPI for a NUMAC semifinal matchup that is currently taking place on Brock Affleck Field. The winner will advance to the championship to take on top-seeded MIT. Football will compete against Coast Guard this Saturday for a noon kickoff. This game will decide the NUMAC, with the winner getting an automatic berth into the national tournament. And finishing off our home slate is women's volleyball, looking to end its regular season with a win against Babson. As we take a look at the athletes departing from Alden Street, field hockey is another team live in action as they are facing off against Babson in a semifinal matchup. The winner will advance to take on WPI. Wrestling will open its season at the Ithaca Invitational. The Pride will begin matches at 2:30 on Friday and 9:30 on Saturday. Both the men's and women's basketball teams begins its season against a familiar foe in Western New England. The women will start the night at 5:30, followed by the men at 5:30. If you would like any extra information regarding Springfield Athletics, head to springfieldcollegepride.com. Postseason play is heating up here for our athletes on Allen Street, as SCTV3's Sam McGilpin gives you an inside look at some of the top performers in this week's edition of Sam's Starting Lineup.
Welcome to this week's edition of Sam's Starting Lineup. As the NUMAC playoffs are in full swing for some sports, here are the top 3 performances of this past week. At 3 is Audrey Hayes. In a knotted-up game against Salve in the NUMAC quarterfinals, Rachel Simkowitz hit the ball and was well defended. However, Hayes made a spectacular on-the-fly reaction to hit the ball in midair and bounce past the Salve goalkeeper to take the lead. Hayes and the Pride would hold on to the lead to win 2-1 and are playing Babson in the semifinals as I'm talking right now. At 2 is a combined effort from Tyler Palladino and Kyle Melville. Early in the third quarter, Palladino took a punt against Norwich 83 yards to the house. He got a monstrous pancake block from the first-year cornerback in Melville. This was Palladino's second touchdown return on special teams this year. The Pride would go on to win 48-6, and they now face the high-octane offense of Coast Guard Saturday on Stagg Field. At 1 is a familiar face in this segment, Caitlin Soler. The senior women's soccer midfielder notched 2 goals yet again, and this time in high stakes. Soler outran a defender to score her first, taking a 1-0 lead against Coast Guard quickly. After Coast Guard tied it up at 1 apiece, Soler was the beneficiary of a give-and-go with Rosie Turbot to take a 2-1 lead into half, as the Pride held on to win 4-2. They're now facing WPI in the NUMAC semifinals on Brock Affleck Field and streaming on Flow Sports as I speak. That's all from me. SCTV3, this is Sam McGilpin speaking.
Make sure to tune in next week so you don't miss out on the premier performances within our athletic programs. This week's Athlete of the Week interview is with Noah Pody, goalkeeper for the Springfield College men's soccer team. The Pride suffered a tough loss in the first round of the NUMAC tournament on Tuesday to Coast Guard, losing in penalty kicks after remaining tied 1-1 through 2 overtime periods. This also marked Pody's last game for Springfield, as SCTV3's River Mitchell sat down with Pody to talk about the game and what it meant for him to play in the maroon and white.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's Athlete of the Week interview. I'm River Mitchell, and I'm here with Noah Pody, goalkeeper for the men's soccer team. Noah, I know you're coming off of a really, really tough loss last night, losing in penalty kicks in the first round of the NUMAC tournament to Coast Guard. When that game ended, I know you're a senior, so this is your last game playing for Springfield. What were some of the emotions that you felt in that moment, and also, when did it set in that this was going to be your last game playing in the maroon and white?
Yeah, I mean, the emotion didn't really set in until after the game. You know, I don't really have my mind on that before the game. Got to focus on the game at hand. But, you know, especially the game was so long, goes into PKs, goes into double overtime. You know, we had like that result last year where we came out on top. But, man, as soon as that last penalty went in, I was like, that's it. It's like, it's over. You know, I just had to be there for my teammates then and be there for my other seniors on the team.
You're a senior, and you've gotten a bond with some of the other seniors on the team. Spent all 4 years together with a lot of them, as mentioned, Cyrus and guys like that. What's that been like, you know, coming in with these guys and essentially walking out with them as well? What's that been like?
Yeah, man, it's been a roller coaster. We've been through so many ups and downs, coming from our freshman year only winning 3 games to this year winning 7 games and doing pretty well, making it to the quarterfinals. And we've had so many ups and downs, like I said before, but, you know, these guys are my family, and they always will be.
Obviously, looking back on the season as a whole, I know it didn't end the way that you maybe wanted it to end, but, you know, in your 4 years here, this is the year where your team won the most amount of games in those 4 years. What do you think that says about this team and about the work ethic and about the attitude that they bring to the pitch every single day?
Yeah, it says a lot. I mean, we were such a young team this year as well with, like, I think 12 freshmen coming in. We had, like, 13 sophomores as well. We only had, like, 8 upperclassmen. So, you know, making this year have, like, seven wins being the most, I think it's such a good thing because we have such a young team. So definitely setting them up for the bright future.
Once you graduate here and once you look back at your time playing soccer at Springfield College, what do you think is going to stick out to you the most? What do you think you're going to remember the most about your time here?
It's a good question. I haven't really thought about that yet, but off the top of my head, definitely the team and definitely the coaches that I've been around all 4 years. You know, the guys I've been with since my freshman year. Just remembering those relationships and just building those relationships with the guys that are under me as well with the freshmen.
Last question I have for you. If you have one sort of main lesson or some sort of, you know, pivotal life, you know, experience or something that you've learned in your time here playing soccer at Springfield College, what do you think that would be?
take it day by day. Enjoy every single moment, no matter what. It goes by in a flash. Can't believe I'm a senior now and graduating in a couple months. So just take every day, day by day, and just enjoy the moment.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for this week's Athlete of the Week interview. Big thanks to Noah for coming down and chatting with us today. We're sending it back to Liam in Studio B.
We have an update for you. Women's soccer is losing 2-1 to WPI just before halftime. But that'll do it for this edition of SCTV3 Sports Extra. Stick around after the break to learn more about the Humanics Conference that happened earlier this week.
The John M. Wilson Center hosted a Humanics Conference the past 2 days in the Dodge rooms of the Campus Union, aiming to give students an opportunity to learn more about how to gain leadership skills and foster creativity. I went over to see what the conferences were all about. The last 2 days, the John M. Wilson Center held a conference centered around the Humanics philosophy in the Dodge rooms in the Campus Union, aiming to give students and faculty an educational experience to help develop skills around leadership, community care, and fostering compassion through a humanics lens, a word that has been synonymous with the college for so many years.
This year we decided, how does the humanics philosophy really play into the way that we engage in, leadership? What things are we learning in our academic disciplines, in our classrooms, in our social environments that are helping us develop and grow? Thought, let's really think about the ways in which radical community care shows up, leading with compassion and emotional intelligence impact our leadership. What things are we learning that are being demonstrated across all of these different areas? And we felt that this was just a really cool and opportunity to dig a little bit deeper.
The event started Tuesday morning as each side of the Dodge room was broken up into 2 sections, with one conference aimed towards tactics to deal with burnout, and the other conference focusing on some struggles that people can face when it comes to finding balance and wellness in their everyday lives. Each conference ran for about an hour, ending with the final conference at 3:30. It was a very similar layout yesterday, highlighted by the keynote speaker, Distinguished Professor of Humanics, Rebecca Lartigue. Ware believes it's important to bring members of the campus community together to discuss something that's so important to the college.
I think it's important because, our philosophy talks about leadership and service to others, right? By educating ourselves in spirit, mind, and body. So what that looks like in practice and providing them the strategies and skills to develop and grow in those areas is extremely important. Our hope, at least mine, is that when our students leave, that they feel more prepared to be leaders in any community, any organization that they belong to, and they feel empowered that they have the tools and resources to do that.
The John M. Wilson Center is a good resource on campus for supporting students and also helping students explore their identity and creative, transformative opportunities to teach students to become leaders. For more information on the John M. Wilson Center, you can contact Deja Ware by email. And on that note, that will do it for this edition of SCTV3 Weekly News. We thank you for tuning in.
Make sure to check out SCTV3 on all social media platforms, as well as at SCTV3's YouTube, where all of our prior shows are archived. Thank you again for watching, and we hope to see you next week. Same time,
same place.